just kind of his, how he's handling his reduced role of sorts, I guess, especially last week, and maybe the challenges of getting him more involved, given how good Jameer is. Only one ball to go around.
Well, yeah, I mean, David is a pro. David's a pro. He goes about his business. He handles it. And I know that's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, you're a guy he's a damn good back. And, every good player wants their chance to help the team win and get some production. So I know it can't be easy. I know it's not easy. But he's a pro. He handles his business and goes about it. And whenever you call his number, he's ready to go. And it's something I think about a lot, is how do we get them all involved? He's one of those, when they're all involved, we're just better. We're a better offense. And, where do we get him touches? Where do we find them? And, so I think about him a lot.
So that was Dan Campbell talking about David Montgomery and his utilization fall off. Now, David Montgomery clapped back on some fans. I put on the screen. I believe he said he ain't going nowhere or something like that. But I'll get rid of him if you ain't going to use him. And we won again. You've been saying it all year. And David Montgomery is just mature enough to handle it like a man. But most people should be bothered. If this is a receiver or a lot of these other players, they have a problem with it. And maybe he should raise hell about it so he can get the ball more. Because clearly in a lot of these games, he's been running that rock a lot better. He's been running that rock a lot better than Jameer Gibbs. And one of the reasons why they losing this season is because they got away from the Montgomery formula. Montgomery softened the defense up, right? He softens the defense up, and Jameer Gibbs gashes him. And when you with David Montgomery, you see on 4th and short, 3rd and short, they keep handing the ball to Jameer Gibbs, and he keep getting stuffed. Knowing that the interior offensive line ain't what it's supposed to be, how you supposed to feel? I would have got that yard because I got more power. That's how you feel if you David Montgomery. You know he feeling that way silently. But you got Detroit Lions Talk playlist, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And Dan Campbell ain't trying to do shit. I hate when they feed you that corporate BS. Oh, we're trying. No, you're not. You're not trying. How were we successful with Ben Johnson? The balance between Montgomery and Gibbs. Split them. And they refuse to do it. And that's one of the biggest holes that Ben Johnson gone. And they don't stick to the run. Pound it. As much as Dan Campbell speak physical football to keep it real, the offense has been pretty finesse under him and John Morton. What happened until we gonna run it down your throat? So if you're gonna run it down somebody's throat, David Montgomery is gonna be the prequel, and Jameer still can be the movie. But they don't do that. Montgomery run well, and they just don't give him the ball for a few series. Find the balance. Jameer Gibbs is going to last a lot longer if you have a guy like David Montgomery next to him. That's a fact. And like I said, maybe Montgomery should be an asshole about it. Honestly. Maybe he will get the ball more. Sometimes a humble mouth don't get fed. Sometimes you got to speak up. Sometimes you got to complain. Sometimes you got to be in the coach's ear. Like, what the fuck is we doing, man? A lot of fans, we want more Jameer. Jameer should be full time. This is the fucking result you're going to get. Especially with a rebuilt offensive line in the middle. Common sense said we need to lean on Montgomery even more. Because he can run through some of those arm tackles. He can bust through the space. But people don't understand football. They think, okay, if Jameer Gibbs get those Montgomery carries, he'll have 300 yards a game. It don't work that way. That's why I say, man, people say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Numbers lie like a motherfucker. Numbers be lying like a motherfucker. Motherfucker score 30 points a game on the New Orleans Pelicans and go be a part of a championship caliber team and be scoring 15 points a game. You're like, damn, you know what I'm saying? We increased his minutes. We did this, that, and the third with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened? Come on. It's wild. He's saying that I want to correct it and I want to, like, dude, you losing, so do something different, and they not. Perfect, the second half of that game, perfect time to ball control and run the ball. The perfect time to control the ball, run it with Montgomery, chew the clock up. Run it with Gibbs, chew the clock up. You know what I'm saying? That was the perfect time to take the Rams out of rhythm. He don't need to be calling, Campbell don't need to be calling the plays. He should have just let John Morton go out on his shield. Honestly. He should have let him go out on his shield. And I did a video, y'all eventually see it. Morton was a nepotism hire. That was his boy. He wasn't qualified. He wasn't qualified. He was a nepotism hire. That's my boy. And like, come on, he got fired from the Jets for throwing it too much outside at the Meadowlands, wherever they was playing that at the time. You know, it's sad. It's real sad, but you know, it is what it is, or it is what it ain't. But maybe Montgomery should complain. This is why Antonio Brown, T.O., them motherfuckers would complain. I mean, I was listening to Marvin Harrison Sr. talk about his son when he was getting drafted, and he was saying that I wish he would just be a little bit more selfish and ask him to throw him the ball. You know, you gotta, you know, part of being a receiver, you gotta have a little selfishness. I think at David Montgomery, he gotta be a little selfish right now. Come on, you gave me some money. Let me go out there and prove you right. Hey, Dan, what we doing, bro? This motherfucker keep getting stopped. Give me the ball. Sometimes being too agreeable and being too nice and being too flexible, people gonna take that kindness for weakness. Sometimes you gotta step up and let motherfuckers know, like, yo, like, come on, this is bullshit. And it may make for uncomfortable, but being too agreeable, being too accommodating to people, gonna get you walked all over. You know, and then you gotta make that ground up by snapping on their ass. You know what I'm saying? You gotta check them. All nice people at some point, if you got a backbone, you got any pride, you got any integrity, when they violate and they try to go too far, you gotta check people like, nah, fuck that. If you being too agreeable, you won't move the ladder up. You won't get promoted. You won't get what's coming to you. Even the Bible tell you, being too nice, you're gonna miss a blessing. Yeah, being too nice, you're gonna miss a blessing. So you gotta stand up for yourself. And Montgomery need to stand up for herself. That's all I'm saying. He need to stand up for herself. But hey, it is what it is, or it is what it ain't. Hit the link in the description. Follow me on X, Facebook, Kick, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Everything inside the link tree. Peace.